Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll be using ISOPROPYL for the first time to remove paint from my miniatures and showing you exactly how I did it. Here I've got a couple of miniatures that I picked up from another collection. This is Rouse and Rain from Blackstone Fortress, who are going to be joining my Green Viper Catachan kill team. So I want to get them ready and get them painted up to match that team's colours. You can see they've got quite a heavy coat here of grey paint. It looks like a primer paint, so I want to take that off. And I've never done this before in a miniature, so this will be the first time, and I'll be taking both of these models and seeing if I can get this off using the ISOPROPYL, which is a chemical. It's a rubbing alcohol. It's 70%, and this should do the trick. I believe they're coated with this primer, the Mecha from Vallejo in a grey, so we'll see how we can get it off. So let's have a look at exactly what we're going to need to do this. So I've got my ISOPROPYL rubbing alcohol 70%. You can get this a lot stronger as well, up to 91, even more I believe, and so you might want to go for a stronger one. But I've got that with a jar and a toothbrush. So I've got a jar with a lid, that's going to keep the smell away, stop it evaporating. I've got an old toothbrush, that's going to do the job. I might need a rougher one, but this did it, as you'll see as we go through the video. And then I've got this, which you can buy really cheap. And also, if you get it on your hands, it's going to be okay because it is a rubbing alcohol after all, although you still might want to wear gloves, as you'll see later on. So let's get started then. So we'll grab our jar, get the lid off, and we'll pop those miniatures inside, and just being careful to slide them in so they don't get damaged. And so there's loads of ways you can do this, but I'm hoping ISOPROPYL will work because that's what I've actually got at home. So let's completely cover them, and I wondered if they would float or not, but they don't actually, they sink. So we're just going to cover it easily by pouring in that rubbing alcohol until it goes right above them. So every single part is submerged beneath the fluid. So the idea with this is it's not going to dissolve the plastic, but it is going to dissolve the paint. So that's the plan. Let's pop that lid on there and we'll set a timer. So we're going to give that 45 minutes and then we're going to come back and see if the rubbing alcohol has done the trick during that time. You can leave it longer as well, but let's see what happens after 45 minutes. And here we go, as quick as that, that's done. So we'll grab the pot and have a look. Now there's no sediment in this at all. None of the paint's come off on its own. So I expect we're going to have to give this a good old scrubbing. But there you can see they're just happy there. The plastic hasn't been damaged whatsoever. So we'll get rid of that lid and then we'll have a look inside, get these models out. And I'm going to just use some tweezers to get them out. I'm also going to put a glove on as well, just on one of my hands, the hand I'm holding it with, and just so when the paint comes off, it's not going to go all over me or anything like that, because I don't really know what to expect at this point. I've got an old cloth here, like a piece of towel that I use for painting, so I can put the model on there, and my toothbrush ready to go. So let's get those tweezers in there, grab the model out, and then we'll start scrubbing. And so here I'm going quite gentle at first, and you can see that that grey is coming off super easy, and it was quite thick, but it's coming off in one layer here, no problem. But underneath it looks like it is painted another colour. You can see that tan coming through, where the plastic for this model is actually red. So we might have to do this process a few times. But I'm scrubbing away, really going for it, and then I found I could just literally pick the paint off and peel it off. It's almost like this little dude's been sunburnt and you're getting rid of that skin, getting it off there. Then I grabbed some tweezers and just went in, and I found this easier than the brush, but because it was so thick it was quite tacky and stringy, and so just getting it off there with the brush, then all those little bits as well, just going back and forth until I got to this stage, and then I found it was getting a bit fiddly. So I'm going to pop it back in. I'm going to give it another 45 minutes and then we'll do the other model to the same stage and we'll give that a go. I found the bases also popped off, and I did read that this can sometimes actually dissolve the glue, not the plastic but the glue holding it together, depending what type's been used. And so that seems to have happened here, and as you'll see, even the model fell apart later on in the video. But same thing, I'm just grabbing those tweezers and pulling off big pieces of it, no problem. And I got it to the same stage as the first model, popped it back in, gave it another 45 minutes, let that rubbing alcohol do the work, and then as we come back, we should be able to get the rest of it off. So the timer's gone again, another 45 minutes has passed, and as I pulled this out just to have a look at it, and I just started with the toothbrush, it did actually come apart. I'm not even sure if this was glue, because I did notice it was a bit wobbly at the beginning, but if it did melt the glue, then it doesn't leave any traces there. I can't really see anything where the plastic's been melted. So yeah, not sure what happened there. So at this stage I just kept scrubbing away, picking all those parts off, and then got it right down to the tan paint. But the tan paint wasn't coming off at all, and I wondered if the varnish was on there, but then I checked and it does say that this should dissolve varnish too. So after a bit more research I found that some paints can be resistant to different types of paint removing methods, and so I'm going to have to try something else for this tan if I want to remove it. But to be fair, if you see on these models, it is quite thin. I think I can get away with this. I think a little light coat over the top with another paint will just make this one solid colour. So I think I'm going to leave it at this stage, but it would be worth experimenting in the future with some different paint removers, because yeah, there's something not right here. And if you've got any idea, please let me know in the comments down below. It'd be great to hear your experiences of this. But one thing that really helped me were these Uncle Bill's silver gripper tweezers. These are awesome. I've had these years. They come in really handy, and they're perfect for going right in those little gaps and getting the hard to reach places. So that was a real help. Can certainly recommend those. And then here are the bases. Again, got all the grey off, no problem, but that other coat of tan just won't budge. So there we go, that's my first experience using Rouse and Rain from Blackstone Fortress, getting them from grey thick to this nice thin tan that was underneath, and I think we could now go over this and we'd be good to go. But the isopropyl definitely worked well on the grey, just didn't have an effect on the tan though, which was a big surprise. So there we go, one experiment down, and if I try another remover or you've got any recommendations, I can certainly make another video, because I've got quite a few models that I've got to work through and remove the paint, and if they've got 2 coats like this one, then that's certainly going to be something I'll need to do. I hope this video was helpful, at least to show that isopropyl worked. And you know, I like doing these videos as I document the first time I try out new things in the hobby, and so hopefully you've got some value for it and it's been helpful. And I would just like to say at this point a huge thank you to everyone who's watched the videos, liked them and subscribed over the past 2 years since I started the channel, because this week we hit 25,000 subscribers and that's all down to you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that support. I can't thank you enough, and it's just so cool to hit this milestone. Now I've got my eyes set on the next target of 50,000, so hopefully you'll join me on that journey and like and subscribe this video, and I look forward to seeing you here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Game. I'd like to say another thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel, being here right from day one, helping me to keep going with these daily videos. If you'd like to join the community, have a look at the link down below. It'll take you to my Patreon page. It would be awesome to see you there.